Family, what's happening? Back again with another one. This time, we're going to talk about a brand that I have loved and cherished for a long time. And they took a fall from grace with me with the entire P320 fiasco. I wasn't a fan of the way that SIG responded to it. I wasn't a fan of the back and forth they've had with customers and society about what they were going to do to fix it or the lackadaisical approach to addressing it. And it made me step away from them for a while. I had other brands that I enjoy shooting, so it wasn't hard. It wasn't like I was without the ability to go purchase firearms, but it did open the door for me to start buying some stuff that I normally wouldn't buy had this not happened. It made me look at some other things, and I'm kind of glad it did. I was introduced to the Glock world, something that we talked about before. I've been avoiding for over 20 years, and then I get over the age of 40 and fall into it. And now one of those weapons has become my favorite weapon in the world. But before that ever happened, there were two brands you would always see me with. Three, actually. FN, Sig Sauer, Smith & Wesson. I was that guy. To a certain extent, I still am that guy. And you'll see as the videos come along. I got some shit that most people don't like and I love. But anyway, this is what we're here to talk about. Sig Sauer P320 M18. I don't normally do this because I don't care. I don't make I don't make any money off of YouTube. But, in the event that I decided I wanted to, I'm going to try to follow the rules that some of y'all follow. This weapon is clear and safe. I am in a controlled environment. I do have a full magazine here that I normally carry with this weapon. It's the 17 round mag. Normally for me, these 21 round mags are just range mags or a secondary. I'll keep one on me if I'm carrying the weapon that's fully loaded with self-defense ammunition. But for the most part, I use those at the range. I normally have multiple firearms on me at all times. So even if I am just out with this one mag, I'm not upset by it. I'm not afraid for it. If I can't do what I need to do to a threat that's approaching me or my family with these 17 rounds, then I feel like I don't need to be shooting, especially based on my background and training. I'm going to get done what I need to get done with what's in my hand right here. But we're going to keep that away from the firearm for the duration of this video because I don't feel like hearing the comments of, oh, you got a loaded firearm, loaded magazine near the firearm. Like the bullets are going to magically jump into shit. Anyway, I stayed away from this, my favorite brand, because of their ignorance in addressing the situation. But if you've been online in a certain website that a lot of us use, and I'll just say the people who produce the dagger, the St. Patrick's Day sale has this weapon and the M17 on sale for $499 right now. So if you're interested in one, I don't know if it's sold out, but it wasn't when I discovered it last night. This one, the M17, go check that out, see if it's still available. But with this one, we got a Surefire X300 Ultra. I'm not a fan of this style of it, but it is what it is. That's what I got. Vortex Defender ST for the red dot. Hey, y'all know me, I'm a green dot guy, but this one is, in fact, if you can see it, it's a red dot. You probably can't, but oh well. It's a red dot on this one. The one thing that people complain about, and I find it comical, is the manual safety on this firearm. I find it comical because most of the people who complain about the manual safety on this firearm will preface their distrust for it or hate for it by saying the 1911 is one of their favorite firearms. And guess what the 1911 has? A motherfucking manual safety. So it's one of those situations where a lot of people just complain for the sake of complaining. And then they negate their complaint by something else that they do. It's funny to me. I don't get mad at them, but it's hilarious to me because it's highly ignorant. Anyway, manual safety. Prior law enforcement, military and civilian, private security, all kind of shit. I've done a lot of things that involve me carrying a firearm all day, every day, outside of my personal life. And most of those weapons had a manual safety. I've been trained to operate environments where you may have to shoot with a manual safety. So for me, the extra time that it takes for me to disengage the safety is not going to make me hate a firearm. If you don't like the safety, there's a simple solution to it. Don't fucking use it. Don't use it. On this firearm in particular, with the fact that the base model P320s have been said to have been randomly firing, and there's been some videos. I can't dispute that it's happened. You know, 1,000 other things could have gone wrong, but there are videos showing that it's fired and some people have been injured, and they've paid out some lawsuit money for it. If you're one of those people that likes to carry, especially appendix carry, and you're just dead set on carrying this firearm, guess what? That's another little ounce of safety there for you. Put it on safe. It shouldn't fire. It shouldn't fire with it not having a safety, but it definitely shouldn't fire if that manual safety is engaged. Now, one thing I do think SIG missed the mark on that would have eliminated some of the question is the manual trigger safety. That is not here. It's non-existent here. It's not there, and I understand why it's not there because, you know, this and the M17 were up for the military gun trials, and they end up winning the contract. And because I come from that world, I understand that the military is not big on trigger safeties. They want a manual safety that can be manipulated. So that's just a thing. So I get why it's there. And had Glock went away from what they normally do and put one on the Glock 19X, I'm fairly certain Glock 19X would have been the military's weapon of choice. So I understand why Glock didn't get it, and I understand why the military chose SIG, and then SIG agreed to give it to them at cost, essentially make no profit from it. So there's that. You know, the government gonna go with the lowest, most responsible bidder. At least that's the verbiage that they tell us. Anywho, the trigger on this gun. See how I dropped the safety to do that? And again, I'm gonna tell you, this weapon is clear. There's no ammunition in it or near it. Watch the trigger pull on this firearm. I'll do it this way. Very subtle. Now reset. Pretty decent. I have some guns that have a better trigger pull. I got some guns that got a better reset, but this one is decent for what it is. It's not something that I would feel like I need to go out and immediately get to the gunsmith and work on, or lay my mat out and get all my tools out and do myself. You know, I'm pretty happy with it the way that it is. When I shoot it, it does feel good in my hand. I'm also not a guy that requires a bunch of stippling to, you know, for me to feel like I'm in control of the firearm. I have a good grip on it. I got a pretty strong grip. I've been shooting for a long time, since I was about 7 years old. So I don't need a lot of extra tricked out stuff. Either I like shooting it or I don't like shooting it. But this one, I like shooting it. It doesn't help that, you know, I'm a SIG guy and I needed something to bring me back to the SIG world, because I was getting ready to walk away from their ass straight up and down. When people get hurt based on your product and you have a bullshit response to it, I got a problem with that. So they really pissed me off. But at the deal that I got it for, you know, I put my pissed offness to the side and said, I'm going to get that motherfucker, and here we are. I actually got this one and the M17. I got some other things I need to do to the M17 because I don't like it. I don't like the additional slide length at all. I just don't. This is my size gun. This is the configuration that I prefer to have a gun in. I don't like them too small. I don't like them too big. This is it for me. Believe it or not, even though I am a SIG guy, and this would fall into me liking older SIGs or liking them for a long time. I like hammer fire weapons. I had to start forcing myself into the striker fire world because that is what the industry is going to. I like double action hammer fire weapons. I grew up, you know, shooting my father's guns. He's in the 60s. Those guns were hammer fired. So that's what I grew up liking. I stayed away from Glock for a long time, but we talked about that in another video. All in all, if I was to tell you, you could get this gun for 500 bucks. You don't have to put on red dot. You don't have to do anything to it. Put some ammunition in it, go to the range, and shoot it as it comes out of the box. I think you would enjoy shooting it. And I'm not talking to the gun snobs. I'm talking to the average shooter who only has the objective of becoming proficient and placing rounds on their target and protecting themselves and their family. I think you would enjoy this gun. You're not going to take it to a competition and come out the box and outshoot Terran. It's not going to happen. That's not what it's designed for. But if you want some protection, I wouldn't be opposed to you getting this. Now, this isn't what I would tell you to run and get as your first gun. I'm not going to be foolish enough to tell you that, but I also wouldn't tell you to run and go get no Glock as your first gun either. For me, if I'm going to tell you to get a striker fire gun, fresh out with minimal experience, it's probably going to be a Canic or a CZ. And yes, I'm a CZ guy. So there's that also. Anywho, Sig Sauer P320. I like it. I carry it. I holster it. I put rounds through it. I put rounds on target, on time with it. And we're going to grow together. We're going to be together for a long time. And y'all going to see it. We're going to take it to the range next week and record our visit. I'm going to look forward to the comments of how much you hate it or how much you don't like the words I use in my videos or the way I say certain things. I'm here, baby. It took me a long time to get to the point of recording the things that I sit around and talk about my friends with all the time, which is firearms. So, get it. If you don't have it, you're wrong. I think you should get it. I like it. I like what it comes with. I like what you have the ability to do with it. And I like the fact that it has a safety on it. I'll holler at y'all later on.